Welcome to the Just For Us podcast, man. This is Ep.4. Today's title, Shop Talk, man. Today we have a guest who I met in barber school. He's a barber with me as well. He cuts at a different shop. He's going to introduce himself, but this is Cayden. I call him Cato. Cato, tell him where you work at, man, and all that.
What's up? My name's Cayden. I go by Lee's Cuts. I cut at Fades and Blades on the south side of South Bend. I'm there Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 7, Saturday, 10 to 4.
Check him out, y'all. Check him out, man. But Cato was I say, me and you were probably the closest, I feel like, when I was in school.
Yeah,
Um, But we were there about a year. You said you were less than a year, right? But
a little less than a year.
so like a year, we kind of met each other, grew with each other. But y'all wanted to hear more barber school stories, man, and no, I'm better than bringing in a guy that was with me during the ride. But before we get started, I want to say thank you for the support. Thank you for those who tuned in. Asked me to talk more about these stuff right here, these stories. Today is a laid back episode, man. No deep talk, motivational talk, just funny stories, experiences that we went through. And just for y'all to get kind of an understanding of like what we actually had to go through. It's just more than school. I always tell people barber school was more than just school, bro. Like it either broke you or made you, dog. But yeah, Kato, how you feel? Like you think our school was like a standardized school, or do you think if state really went in, it would have been shut down?
Hell nah, bro. It definitely would have been shut down. I always tell people, they're like, where'd you go to barber school? I'm like, it was in LaPorte, but it wasn't like a normal barber school. It was more like a barber shop type, and it was just kind of ran a little like different than a normal barber school. We wasn't in the classroom as much as we should have been. We really just be goofing off on our phones.
And I always said this, bro, like Mr. Bean, the way he ran it, you had to figure out his patterns, right? Like figure out how to get an advantage to get you out of school faster. The whole goal was to get out of school faster than what you were supposed to, bro. Because if you figure out the way he operated, like Kato, I don't know if you remember this, my first day, we weren't even in the classroom. We literally went to Tractor Supply or that store that was out
Yeah.
there to fix his lawnmower, bro. Like,
Yeah.
and he blamed it on us that his lawnmower broke. You know what I mean? I was like, man, what are we doing here?
Right.
But it wasn't a school. It really wasn't. I feel like it was a barbershop.
Yeah.
What I started doing, I don't know if you did this, Kato, but whenever he wanted food or cigarettes, I would take my sweet time. I would go in there for an hour, just messing around, then come back and then be like, here you go, kind of give
Yeah.
myself a little break and space in between, bro. But
Right. Yeah, he can't do anything about it either because he sent you. And he
right,
ain't gonna
yo,
come down because you getting him cigarettes.
right. If you go to rating next, make sure you record, bro. I started recording towards the end, dog. To the end of school, I got them Ray-Ban glasses. I started recording every conversation because he'd be lying, bro. He'd be lying. Kato, we gonna get into it. Story with Ashley, man. This is the first story we're gonna talk about. The crazy story. So we had this girl. I think was that like the only girl that was with you guys, like during your whole barbering
Yeah.
thing, or no? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the week I started was the last week of this Vanessa girl.
Oh, right, right. There, yeah. I know she did my twist once, but
Yeah, but I never really talked to her or anything,
right.
so it's really just the guys.
So when we were there, then we had this one girl named Ashley, bro. And I'm saying if she sees this, bro, feel free to comment. You know what I'm saying? I heard you. But
Yeah. What's up, Ashley?
yeah. But she was I'm not saying that just to say like I was lusting for her, but um she as like the only girl in an all guy facility, you're gonna find anybody pretty like decent, right? You know what I mean? Like guys are gonna lust over her. I think that was the case with Mr. Bean. She walked in. I still remember when she walked in and she was going into his office. He looked back at us with like a smile, bro. And I was like, oh, he finna tell us something, man.
Yeah.
And when she had left, he had told us, and I don't know if you remember, he said, if anybody makes an inappropriate joke or any of that, they're out to
You know?
school. And I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I feel like that's none of us, bro.
Yeah.
First encounter with Mr. Bean where he said the inappropriate joke was when he said he would drink her bath water, bro. Kato, you remember this? I was like,
Yeah, bro.
bro.
Oh, he's like, all right, anybody says anything inappropriate, any jokes about her, I'm writing you up or you're getting sent home. But he was the first one to start saying stuff about her.
And he was old. So Mr. Bean was this guy who three things mattered to him in his life, right? Money was the first one. He would get at you with money, bro. If you owed him money, he would come at you. Second, black versus white. For some reason, bro, if you were white, you had did something to this man in his life, bro. But it never made sense because all his best friends were white. His girlfriend was white. And the
Yeah.
third thing, bro, God was an important thing to him, but I feel like he always misused it, bro.
It was weird. He'd bring him up when he needed to use them, but
Right,
other than that, bro, he didn't he's a preacher in that, and I'm not gonna say like church names or anything,
right.
but he had us come one day and I'm watching him. He seemed legit, you know. I just felt bad for the people that was like sitting there watching him because they don't know how he is outside of church, like at the barber school.
And everything we're saying about Mr. Bean, he already knows. Don't feel like we just bashing him, bro. Like
Yeah.
I'll let him know how I felt towards the end. A lot of people have, and but besides that, I always say I feel like he had good intentions, but he just didn't know how to use them. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like it's not like he was out to get us or one out.
Yeah, he was just more of like a joking guy, like
Right.
he wasn't like a bad guy or anything. He just overly joked and didn't know when to be serious in certain times.
And I think what also played a part that we were all young too. So for him, like he tried to fit into this thing to the new age, and it was like, bro, be you, dog. Like you know what I'm saying? This cringy, bro. But besides like the God thing being his third most important thing, I think it was also just lust. I think he loved women. I think that was his weakness, bro. You know what I mean? Girls were his weakness. And with the Ashley thing, when he had said the bathwater joke, man, I literally remember this. We were talking about our previous relationships and whatnot. It was during lunchtime. We were in the room, and he always just creeped in. Like he was in his office. He'd always be asleep or seeing his attorney. I've never seen anybody see his attorney more than 10 times a week, bro. Like he was there every day, dude. Like at one point you gotta wonder, Kato, what attorney is this? Because it's like, man, there's no way you got to see your attorney all this for a barbering school thing. You know what I'm
Uh,
saying?
I think it was an excuse to take time away and not have to be at the shop so much, and there's nothing you can do about it because he's saying he's at an attorney, you know?
Right. And he would tell us, say this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if someone calls, say this, or someone comes in, tell him I'm in a meeting or something.
And it was crazy, man. But when he had said that bathwater joke, we were in there, we are talking about periods relationships, and then he just walked in, joined in the conversation. And I don't know if he got in a deal we were talking dirty or something or what went through his head, but he had said that joke. And I laughed because it was funny. At the time, I knew it was inappropriate though, but I laughed, bro. You cannot not laugh, you know. But I could tell Ashley felt uncomfortable, man. I think that kind of set her up to leave the school, right? She
Yeah.
had left maybe what 2 months in, if that.
I don't even know if I woulda gave her 2 months, bro. I think it
Right.
was, like, a little over a month, which I understand, bro, like, I ain't got
100%.
nothing bad to say about Ashley. It was
Me
really
neither.
on me, bro, like, I remember telling Ashley, I'm like, "I feel sorry for you because like, you really just here trying to learn how to, like, fade in that because she already has, like, her cosmetology license, so she knew how to, like, dye hair and that, but whole time she trying to learn, he's making jokes, and bro, the one joke that had me, like I got, like what is it? I felt weirded out when he said it, like, I felt uncomfortable. When he was, like, testing us over the chapter, and he had made the ABC joke, talk about D.
Yeah, the vitamin choking on vitamin D.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro.
And Kato, if you remember, bro, that's the conversation that led to me going off on Mr. B. I had went off on him after Ashley had left. I don't know how we got into it, but I had brought it up. I'm like, bro, no, you make people uncomfortable, and that like offended him or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're the reason why Ashley left, and I'm like, how am I the reason? And he was like, you made her uncomfortable. Like I was like, from
That's when we
laughing.
got in that whole big argument, bro. Cause
Yeah,
'cause then I took your side, and then
right,
Tristan then was like, "You only taking Tony's side because that's your boy." I'm like, "No, I'm
right,
taking the side because he's right, and I'm not about to sit here and let
right.
Dean come at you over some that's not even true."
Right. Bro, yo, I laughed when he had said that vitamin D joke. I think the joke went something like he had like a female student on there and she was reading it and she choked on vitamin D when she went over or something like something weird, bro. But
Yeah.
I laughed because it was funny. You know what I'm saying? When he says stuff like that, it's funny because it's like uncomfortable, right? Ashley wasn't laughing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I laughed and Mr. Bean thought I was making her uncomfortable somewhere or another. I don't know, but at this
I
time,
don't think he was. I don't think he thought he was making her uncomfortable. I think he was just using that to get it off of him.
right.
'Cause he had
Yeah,
such
exactly.
and then he was like, "Nah, 'cause you said this and made her uncomfortable,
Right.
and that's not what happened."
Bro, and I told him there's a camera right there, bro. Go review it, dog. 'Cause for me at that time, I was married, bro. I'm not gonna say no nonsense when I'm married to a woman I'm going home to every day, bro. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, but that was like the downfall of it, man. I feel like Mr. Bean's weakness was woman, man. And I think when she had left, it definitely, I'm not gonna say it ruptured our relationship, but it definitely like made me weary of like, he's never gonna put the blame on himself. You know what I mean? As a man, you
Yeah.
got to, bro. When you
Yeah.
mess up, you got to put the blame on yourself, and he just never did on that part, man.
Mhm.
But shout out to
Absolutely.
Bean, man. If you watching this, no hate, bro. Like I said,
Hey, we just telling the truth.
hey, we just showing our experience, man. But I remember, I think it was my first week there, man. What were they? I want to say they were Arabs, bro. I don't know if you know the story I'm gonna tell you, Kato. When I'm fading this dude, and he's like, like one side was higher than the other or some shit.
Mhm.
And he was like, let me fix it. He grabbed my clippers, bro, and started fading himself. And then the dude you had cut had
Yeah,
to
bro. I remember that. And I'm sitting there thinking the whole time, like, bro, if Bean walks in right now, we about to get in trouble.
again, Mr. Bean said he had to go somewhere, right? So he was gone. This is like my first week of school, dude. And this dude said I was cutting higher on one side than the other. So he had took the clippers and first I think Cato
He
first he had
started trying to cut himself.
right. I think first he had told you to fix it, and then he
Mhm.
was like, "It's still higher or some shit." So he started fixing it himself, bro. And then the dude that Kato was cutting came up to me and he's like, "He had pushed my back up, this, and that." And I don't know what he's saying because it's like half English, half a different language. So I'm like, "Oh yeah, bro. Like I don't know what you're saying, dog. Like you know what I mean?" But this whole time, bro, this dude pulls out a phone and starts recording us, Kato.
Yeah, nah, bro, he was on live.
He was on
He was on
live, bro.
Instagram Live, bro. And I just remember being like, what the fuck?"
Dude was on live exposing those as students, bro, being like, "Yo, I'm cutting my
Just
own hair."
standing
This,
there, bro. I still remember just standing there. We just standing there like, what the fuck?
Kato, when I was looking at you, I was like, "Yo, what are we?" I wanted to fight that dude, bro. And then Kato was like, "It ain't worth the game." I was like, "Dog, we on live, bro. This dude is laughing in our face, dog." I'm like, "Yeah."
Hey, bro, we was still just trying to learn how to cut.
Right? I was like,
We didn't learn how to cut though in barber school. Like that was the thing. Like you supposed to go to barber school to learn, but now our barber school, we was only there to get our hours in. So that way he could sign us up to pass the test. Cause other than that, bro, the only way we'd learn is like watching YouTube or trying to teach each other. Or we had somebody, well, I did. I don't know if you was with Diego, but somebody, Diego, he was in barber school. He had taught me a couple things. But other than that, like it was really just YouTube that you would learn. And then he'd be like, "Oh, you learn on YouTube though. You a YouTube barber." And I'm like, "Bro, yeah, because you don't teach us." He would have us cut somebody and we wouldn't know what we're doing. So we'd kind of mess him up, trying our best. And then he'd come over and fix it, not even explain. So
and
like,
the thing with it too, like I wish we could show y'all the layout, man. Like, first of all, the lights were so dim and yellow, you couldn't really see anything off the rip. You couldn't bring in a ring camera, you couldn't bring your own clippers. I think he like over time started being more lenient so you could bring your own stuff, but in the beginning when I was there, you couldn't bring your own stuff, no enhancements, any of that.
and it was tight. Like we don't really have
Like
room to move.
right. And my biggest thing with that, bro, and I say this to this day, and I let him know about it was you paid 3K, right, to get your supplies. The book that I had gotten was already filled out. Like the first three chapters are already filled out. The clippers that I had was another student's that they left behind because they still had the tape with their name on it.
Yeah, he
So I had
pocketed.
used clippers. Exactly. And then the shears that I got was Mr. Bean's old shears when he was in school,
I
bro.
remember that.
When I tell you, bro, like that made me frustrated because he also lied on top of that and said that I had to leave. So I was in college at this time, freshman year. I had like a week left of my freshman year. He had told me there's 20 kids that he accepts, and there's 19 right now, 18 or 19, and there's a kid or two that are getting ready to join. So if I want to join, I gotta pay the next day. In college, I don't know if y'all, those who in college may feel my pain. You're broke as hell in college, bro. You ain't got no cash, no money. So I had to borrow money from my uncle, 3K off the rip, pay him the 3K. Whole time, there's only like 7 students there the whole time, Kato. I'm like, dog,
If
where's
that.
everybody? Bro, I was like, where's everybody else? And he's like, oh, they're coming in, man. They're coming in. I didn't see him at all, bro.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of made me upset because I didn't want to drop out of college, but at the same time, I'm happy that I'm here, right? Can't be mad at the obstacles that were put in front of me, but
Yeah, looking back at it, like, whatever happened, happened, but it's like, it was all worth it because
right.
doing now.
And how you feel like? Because I know we talk all this bad, so we talked all this bad about the school. What I learned the good thing from it is stuff not to do, right?
Yeah,
My
for sure.
professional image. I think Mr. Bean was actually spot on when he talked about professional image, how you present yourself. I think that does carry you far places, opens doors that will carry you to a next level, right? But I think what I learned is stuff not to do, like really, like how to actually run a place efficiently and be set to succeed, right? I learned that from being at that school, from seeing it firsthand. What do you think you learned, Cato, that has pushed you like to where you at right now?
Really what he said about the 20-30-50 rule, which is like, okay, I agree to some extent, like, I agree that it's not all hair cutting. Like, yeah, if you got a bad attitude, but you're like cold at cutting hair, you ain't gonna continue to be a barber because people ain't gonna want to come in your chair when you're like obnoxious or rude. But also, if you can barely cut, I'm gonna say this because I've seen this in the shop. I've seen someone that can't cut that good and that takes a while to cut, but they have that good personality where they can talk and be funny, and then they've had clients come back, and it's like, how is this dude getting so many clients when he's taking 2 hours on a cut? Well, it's like it's the way you speak to them, the way you carry yourself, your professional image. So if you can like tie all that into one thing, I think you're set, and you stick to that, you're gonna achieve.
One thing I realized going off what you said too, Cato, is Mr. Bean always said this. There's never gonna be a perfect fade because there's not a perfect head,
Yeah, yeah, for
right?
sure.
So I from your experience as well, my experience firsthand being at a barber shop, I had a dude come in and his barber wasn't there that usually cuts him. So he came to me, asked me for a mid fade. I gave him a mid fade. And I knew my fade was good, not to be cocky, I just knew it was good. But to him, he didn't like it because he's used to the way his barber gives a fade. So not every fade that we know is the same fade that we're gonna give out. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So some people, so you may the barber that you had may be trash, but you're so used to his face, so used to how it looks that if a good barber gave you a good cut, you may think that's trash. You know what I mean? It's that
Yeah,
chemistry and relationship that you build with somebody that really does carry you a long way. There's one thing guys are gonna be loyal to is their barbers. So I've seen that firsthand to kind of go off what you said, Kato, where personality does carry you a long way. If you could build a relationship with the client, dude, it
yeah,
don't matter how your cut looks like. 'Cause it's really the conversation. It's everything else being put into it that's gonna carry you a
right.
long way.
Yeah,
So
I've been out, like, at a bar or something and seen somebody normally, I'll try to go up to somebody when I'm out in public and I see, like, they have a messed up cut or, like, I know I could do a better job at the cut. I seen someone at the bar and I went up to him and I gave him my card, and, like, he was like, respectfully, like, "I got a barber," which I'm like, as a barber, I'm not trying to take somebody else's client, so I'm like, "Okay," like, I understand. Took the business card back, but, like you said, it doesn't matter how good the cut is. It's, like, that chemistry that you got with your barber.
100%. Like I talked about this episode one, right? And why I created this podcast. It's the fact that you're gaining these experiences and seeing a different side of your client. He's gonna tell you stuff that he's going through that he won't even tell his best friends or his wife,
Mhm.
his girlfriend. You know what I mean? Because you're really a therapist. And
For
I
real.
think, and it's crazy, man. 'Cause I heard so much stories just being a barber so far, right? But one of the stories I want to bring on was I don't know if you kind of remember this. I don't know if you had left by then or not, but the story of KJ. I don't know if that name sounds
Oh, it's the
familiar or
dude I
not.
shot.
Um,
That bro that shot somebody?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, did you ever
So
cut him?
I cut him twice. I know you cut him. He liked the way Kato and I think it was Tristan. It was one or two. He liked the way they cut his hair, but I think it was two sides to this story that I want to share. The first one was y'all asked for crazy experience, so I'm gonna give you like a crazy background to this whole thing. So I think when was this, Kato? 2022, 2023?
Yeah, I started late 22, probably late 22, early 23.
So this guy, this barber school that we went to, you start meeting a lot of the same clients that come, right? This guy came in. A lot of times you come in with this kid or you come in by himself, but you could tell he was a gang member, right? Chatted up, sagged a little bit, but his demeanor, the way he talked to people, he was so professional. Like I'm never gonna talk down on him because the way he talked to you, he was respectful, right? And Mr. Bean would always get on his case. I remember he would always want to be cut by either you or Tristan. So when you guys weren't there, he'd be like, respectfully, like, I'm just gonna wait. Mr. Bean, like, hey man, we don't do that at this school. Like everybody cuts everybody, this and that. And me personally being a hothead, I would have gone off on being like, nah, bro, like I don't want to cut from these guys, right? He
Yeah.
was so respectful, call him a sir, called me a sir when I would cut him and stuff like that. Like he was a respectful man. Backstory behind all of this was I think it was in 2015 or 2016, one of those dates or something like that. He was at a bar. He had confronted somebody, got into a fight, shot this dude in the head.
Yeah.
Literally in the head, he had shot this dude, and somehow the dude survived. And this whole time he was coming into the shop, you wouldn't even have known he had shot somebody. He was awaiting trial, like waiting his sentencing, man. Um, what do you get sent? I want to say he got sentenced to 10 years. It could be more,
Okay.
could be less. I don't even know if I could pull it up.
I just
But
remember that I had always cut him, and then the one day I'm sitting in there and Bean's like, "Hey, you hear about your boy?" I'm like, "Who?" He's like, "Did you just cut?" I'm like, "Nah." He's like, "KJ." I'm like, "Oh yeah, the one with the face tats." He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Nah." He's like, "Yeah, I guess he shot somebody in the face outside of a bar." And I didn't even know. Like I'm like thinking that that just happened, but yeah, that was a couple years ago.
and it's crazy because that we when we were in school, he finally got sentenced to the amount of years he got. I want to say it's 10. He got sentenced. And we're thinking because his boy was young, man. Like his boy was young. So by the time he gets out, his kids already, I think, gonna be finishing high school, man. Like it's a sad thing, but I think that was one of the more crazier experiences where I was just like, yo, we we're we're cutting a guy who's on trial for almost committing murder. You know what I mean? Like
The whole time not even telling.
without even knowing, without him bringing it up, none of that, bro. Which I think was kind of crazy on my end, right? But
Yeah.
I think what was another? We never really had beef with any of the classmates. I would say personally, right? We had
Just like
days where,
little beef, but not anything
right?
serious.
Like I always say, like when you're around somebody for a few days a week for like over a year, you're seeing these guys often. You're gonna get into it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're gonna have the days where you fight and whatnot. But I think we always handle it afterwards. I think we're on good terms. I don't think anybody's mad at each other. But
Yeah.
trying to, I'm trying to. What was one of the crazy experience that we had with our schoolmates, man?
I don't know. All I would say is like, other than the KJ story, like for barber school, I never really talked to people. I guess that at least I knew that wasn't in prison or something. But starting barber school, I'd get a lot of people I'd be cutting. And even now, like in a shop cutting hair, I'd be talking to they're like, oh yeah, I just got out, did 15 in prison and stuff. Like that's common. Like, and then they got so many stories to sit there and tell me, and like I got questions to ask. But that's something crazy that's, like, I've learned throughout, like, my barbering journey, is there's
You
a
think
lot of to cut that are, like, really, really been about that life, really did shit.
you think at this point now, being a barber, hearing these crazy stuff that these clients tell you, you're kind of immune to certain reactions. Like you don't really react out of, I would say, fear or even shock anymore. Like you're kind of used to hearing a
Yeah.
lot of the stuff they say.
Yeah, in the beginning, like, in barber school, when someone would tell me, like, they did time in prison or something, like, a lot of time, I I like, for the first couple of times that happened, like, I'd feel myself, like, get nervous to cut them or whatever because 'cause I'm like, I don't wanna mess up their cut, and then they're, like, hot-headed or something. But just because people have been to prison, I've, like, realized just because people went to prison doesn't mean they're a bad person, you know? Like, I cut people now, and um I'm, like, more like, I'll ask them, "Okay, like, what did you do?" Or, like, like, before, if they told me, "Oh, I was in prison," I try to keep creep around that convo, like, I wouldn't even wanna talk about the convo, but now, like, I try to engage more into it and ask questions.
And that's so real because again, we're therapists, and whether we like it or not, you're gonna if you communicate right, you do your job right, you're gonna have a lot of these clients tell you how they feel, stories they've been through.
They wanna talk about it.
They do. They want to be able to release it. It's a safe space, man. A lot of people don't look at barbershops as safe space, but it is. Along that though, I think for me, like the craziest thing I had so far that I had to deal with in terms of being in a barbershop, and I think every barber goes through this at least once, is when you feel like you do a good cut, a client doesn't like it and he makes a big scene out of it. How do you respond? I think that's where Mr. Bean's professional image part where he had talked about it, preached about it, comes in play. I think for me, I remember being early on in the shop that I'm at right now, Who's Your Cuz. I had this old African American guy come in. He was from New York, but somehow wanted to cut. He had asked me for a tape cayden, like a low taper. I think he had asked me for.
Mhm.
So I gave him a low taper. Usually for us, at least it's new age. And I think this is where we misinterpret old styles or new styles, right? Him a low taper where the C cup
Uh,
is still right there.
yeah,
And so he wanted a high taper where it's actually right here with no C cup. But he never told me that. He just wanted he wanted a high taper but wanted it to be condensed. You know if that makes sense? And I'm like, "Bro, you didn't really explain it." Yeah, I was like, "You didn't really explain that." I guess that was a low taper for him. And I
yeah,
was like, and he was going after me, bro. He was like, "Man, I would tell you to go back to school and learn how to cut this and that." This whole time, I'm like watching him and like I'm getting hot. When I'm getting hot, bro, like my face starts to get hot. Like I really start sweating, bro, you know? And like I want to say stuff to him, but I think the bigger part of me just stood back and I was like, "Hey, man, I apologize for this cut I gave you. I think I gave him the cut for free or something, bro." And told him
mm,
just like, "Hey, have a good day." Has
yeah.
that happened to you yet in your shop? Or you?
I've seen it in my shop happen, not to where they made a big scene about it. I've seen like they'll be like, "Oh, I asked for this, not this." And then someone comes in, they'll be like, "Oh, I want a taper fade." I'm like, "Okay, so a taper fade, that's two different things. A taper is the sides and the back." I'm like, "But all this you still have the bulk unless you want me to cut it down." I'm like, "A fade is I bald it all the way around and then I blend up so the whole bottom is gonna be bald. So that just that way I can kind of get them to understand it, or sometimes I'll show them pictures.
Like, so they know, the podcast know, and I don't speak on nobody else. Kind of speak on myself. Um, so I was smoking heavy in barber school,
Mhm,
and I remember blank they gave me gummy, man, and I'm not a gummy guy at all, bro. Like at this time, I was just cool with smoking carts or smoking a joint. Yeah, gave me a gummy, bro, and this gummy messed me up. And if y'all know anything about barber school and especially Mr. Bean school, he would bring his nephews in. He has a bunch of nephews.
mhm.
And I remember he told me to come one of his nephews. And Kato, when I'm telling you, I'm feeling high as hell, right? Cutting this dude's hair. And I think I'm beaming him up, bro. Like, I think the cut is fire and everything. I look back and I think Kamari had taken a photo of it, bro. Or I had taken a photo. I had
Mm,
left patches on this dude's head, bro.
mm.
Literally. You know how Mr. B be knocking the top down of the hair and then you just taper it in, fade it in?
Yeah,
Bro, I had here, hair, no hair, just patches everywhere, bro. And man, when I look back, bro, I'm gonna speak for myself. I'm not gonna speak on somebody else, but I was just high during a lot of it to coast through it, bro. I think people don't realize barber school was more than barber school at us. It was a full time job, a 9 to 5,
yeah, sure.
a whole nine to
Yeah, bro, I
five.
remember that. Do you remember the time when you had smacked, yeah, I'm not gonna say their name. You smacked someone's cart and you think, "Okay, you straight." You go in there and we all just in the back just bullshitting and you're like, "Yo, you trying to go get the, eye drops from Bean?" So I had told Bean that my eyes was irritating me and I wanted the eye drops.
Bro, we used to, man. It is crazy because now Mr. Bean gonna look at it and he's probably gonna know what's up. But bro, a lot of those carts that we smoked, we would smoke in front of him. He thought they were vapes, and he didn't
Vapes,
care if you
yeah.
smoked vapes. You know?
Yeah, 'cause we'd go outside, smack the vapes.
Right,
We'd be sitting there smoking, but yeah,
right.
whole time they be getting high.
The whole time. And the thing with Mr. Bean is he would always go outside for conversations, bro. Like he would go outside for a smoke break because he smoked cigarettes. And we would be out there with him just smoking as well, but smoking our own stuff. He ain't know the difference, bro. Oh, man, but I was for a good part of it. We were high though, Kato. But Like I shed light on my experience with it. I was working another full time job, and then going to barber school. Yeah, and people and I say that to tell people like, there's never an excuse for you not to go do something or go get it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna make a sacrifice to make stuff for it. You know, in your case, Kato, after barber school, you made a sacrifice to study, focus on your test, get the test, and then end up in the shop where you at right now, right? Growing. You know, a lot of people don't realize barber school for a lot of us students at the time, we were working another full time job, helping our parents out with their job, doing so much, and then going to school on a daily basis, bro. Like it was working 2 or 3 jobs at the time. Kamari had a whole job. I know you was helping your dad out with his plumbing. Tristan and them, Tristan, he was on a weekly travel jobs. Not the best Tristan, he kind of knows this. Sam was working a full nighttime job. Like we
Yeah.
were all working a full time job and then going into school a few hours after that, which just
Mhm.
sucks, bro. Sucks. But how do you think that shaped you now, Kato, to like your work ethic? How do you
Um,
feel it?
I'm not gonna lie, back in high school, I really didn't have work ethic. Like, I really only had jobs to, like, get what I needed, like my car and stuff, and kinda have some extra cash, but it was once I got into cutting hair and, like, really fell in love with it, I, like, just knew I wanted to pursue that, and I knew if I wanted to be able to be a full-time barber, like, how I am now, I knew it was gonna take time, I'd have to put time in, like 'cause for my jobs in high school, they was always, like, part-time jobs, and I knew, like, when I started cutting hair, I wasn't doing it part-time. I was, like, either all in it or not, and I fell in love with it, so I knew I wanted to be all in it, and just I've been in this shop full-time since January, and I'm already building so many clients, doing it full-time. There's a lot of people I know that have to have a second job with cutting hair because they're not making enough money, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to make enough. I was able to move out a couple months ago, get my own place, got a new vehicle, doing good.
And kind of to speak deeper on that real quick, Kato, about working another job while being a barber. I had said this in school and I still stand firm on it. If you dedicate yourself to cutting, dedicate yourself to staying those long hours at the shop, you're gonna build a clientele. A
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
people expect you to go to a shop and then within a month already have a clientele. We learned the hard way. You know what I mean? Especially me. I learned the hard way, especially in just sitting those long hours, getting no cuts on those days you just want to go home to try to get those clientels. You know what I mean? If you work another job, it's either because you're trying to save money on this or you're not taking it serious enough. That's how I always felt about it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kato, but something that I look at is Kamari's work ethic, bro. You know, as much as I thought he was gonna be the laziest. I let him know too. I was like, Kamari, you don't want to cut, bro, this and that. But
Yeah.
right, his work ethic is much better than mine right now, to where he's there at the shop from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You know what I mean? All day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like he dedicated himself to that craft to be able to get where he's at. You dedicated yourself to get to where you at now, to where you got your own place, a new whip, bro. You're doing that by yourself, Kato. We're not even 25 yet. Already
Right.
doing this stuff. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think it's that vision that we all have where it's you sacrifice to get where you want to be in life, And I think Mr. Bean done a well job of telling us what we shouldn't do, showing us, hey, like if you do this, you're not gonna succeed, right? I think we all took that side of it and look where we're at right now. You know, my question to you is, what's your end goal with barbering, Kato? I always said for me, I don't see myself cutting more than 5 to 6 years. You know what I mean? I eventually want to
So
have a shop or eventually want to get into a different career. But what's your end goal with barbering? Where do you see yourself in, let's say, 10 years?
so I'm still kinda, like, iffy on it. I don't think I could ever see myself not cutting hair. Now, I know I don't wanna do it full time forever. I don't wanna be 30, 40 years old still cutting hair full time. Um, Not saying that's a bad thing. It's definitely could be a good thing still cutting hair. It's good money. But I want I don't want to be as hands-on, you know. I want to cut hair, build my clientele, cut hair for probably 10 years, 9, 10 years, and then I want to get into real estate. I want to start buying and selling properties.
So a lot of people don't understand. We don't have a safety net with barbering too. You know what I mean? You make what you make. You can't call a day off and expect to have money come in or any of that.
Right. No paid vacation.
Nothing. You're paying for your own supplies too.
Mhm.
So with that all being said, How do you feel about the people that talk about the prices, about it being too expensive, this and that?
I don't think it's expensive at all. I say max you should pay for a cut anywhere. I'd say is maybe 80 and that's in like Cali, but like 60, 50, 40, I could see 40, 50 really average cuts because the tools that we use, they're not $100. Like there's certain clippers and trimmers that are $300 each. There's all your stuff, you gotta rebuy blades. You can't use a blade one time, or you can't use like a blade, like one blade and be fine. You have to buy blades, especially cutting hair every day. There's multiple stuff that you run out of that you gotta continue to buy. Capes, anything is like real expensive. You have booth rent, so you're not just taking everything you're making to yourself. The shop takes some, it's a lot more that goes into it than what somebody sees. So nobody is making it in 2025 off of 25, really even $30 cuts anymore.
The other day during Thanksgiving, we had an upcharge of $10 because at the same time we're excluding ourselves from family activities to go and cut hair, right? Go
Mm,
help somebody else look fresh on their day of holiday. But we had a lady complain and say, "I'm not paying this amount of money where I could just use shears to cut my kids' hair." The way I look at it, and I was respectful to her, I said, "All right, have a nice day, man." The way I look at it though is like at the end of the day, man, like you said, Kato, we're paying for all these supplies. We're paying booth rent on top of that, something that comes out of our check every week just to be able to cut at that place.
mhm,
At the same time, the clippers that we use, like you said, Kato, we start to get new blades for them over time. It's not cheap. It's 50 to 70 minimum just to get another blade just for that clipper, right? We're using razor blades. People want their razor on their hairline, their beard line. We have to use a new one every time. It runs out. We have to get new ones, get gloves, get all these supplies. It builds up, to the point where you're losing $300, $400, maybe 500 in a month just because you have to buy supplies, buy all these things. So people
right,
talk about the price. You got to understand with the economy rising up, how are we supposed to make a living on $20 a cut? We
yeah,
can't. You know what I mean? Yeah, you probably make more money at McDonald's or another fast food chain. No hate towards that, but we charge what we think we're worth, man. And it's not to be braggy or to say it's an upskill, but you understand we're trying to make a living out here too. And I feel like a lot of people misinterpret that and think we're just trying to rip you guys off. Man, if anything, we're trying to help you guys look fresh and clean, bro, while still
right,
trying to make a living. But
yeah.
but yeah, man, I think we got more crazy stories that you know what I mean, that will come down the road. But this the Cato, I think we've grown together. I went to his church. I don't know if you want to get into a little bit about your experience with Christ, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm
How we
down.
started. How did it, so I know in school for there was a moment where you didn't believe in him or that was you weren't religious, right? Um and for those I'm just saying it now, for those who don't want to listen to this, feel free to leave. Like I said, I'm never going to deny Christ. But it is important to share this testimony because I feel like we both were going through a similar thing to where we're helping each other get to where we at. But Kato,
Mm.
take it away, man. Kind of talk about your experience.
So growing up, I grew up in kind of a religious family. My grandma's very religious, and I would go with my brother, my mom and dad growing up, and then when my sister was born, with my sister every Sunday to church. And then as I got older, I started like, having my own opinions and thoughts on things. And I just really wrapped my head around it. Like, I didn't believe that anything could have like a high power like that. So I didn't believe in God at all. Um, and so then, I went on about it. I started believing in God. And then my grandpa had got sick. And when he passed, because I had made like a deal with God or whatever, like, not a deal, but I was just like, like, if you don't take him, I'll start going to church more. And then he passed. So then I was like, God can't be real. So I was like in and out of God. Like, so then I didn't. And then I started believing in him again because of barber school. And then my best friend had passed away. And right after barber school, my best friend had passed away. Um, and so I stopped believing him again. And then I got in a relationship and I started believing in him again. But I would say I have the best relationship with God right now than I ever have. I pray almost every day, and I don't ask for things. I only thank Him for things. I wouldn't be where I am today without Him. So yeah, and
Yeah,
I also invited you to my church to get baptized because I had never been baptized, and so I invited Tony to my church to get baptized, and we got baptized.
and that's where I was telling you guys about being as close to how we were in school. We were both going through a trial and be both connected and wanted to learn more about God. Like I always said, as a Christian, your job is not to crucify someone for not believing in God. It's instead listen and try to get them there, right? They ask questions. I think a lot of us judge people. A lot of us, oh, you don't believe in God, then your life must be horrible. No, that's not the case, bro. How are we better than they are?
Yeah.
And I wanted to get baptized with Cato because, man, the journey that we went through in school to get to where we were at, and the fact that he was growing as a person, was willingly every day to try to learn more about God. That's what made me be like, bro, this is worth it. And I was
Mhm.
converting over from Catholic to Christian, so I was like, man, I'm gonna get baptized again.
And Imma
So
say
I ain't
this, you helped me a lot with it, because even though you was going through from Catholic to Christian, you every day, like, we always sat there and would just talk about God, and you would, like, tell me things, and you helped, like, for God to stick with me too. Like, if it wasn't for you at those certain times, I wouldn't have ever thought about them. And you kinda, like, helped me understand things I wasn't understanding about the Bible.
and I think that's where we had talked about God puts you in certain scenarios to grow, and we
Mhm.
both needed to grow, and iron sharpens iron, man. That's why I wanted to talk about religious beliefs that we had growing up, kind of from barber school till now, man. Because I think iron sharpens iron, and I think through your experience, Cato, you look what you at right now, man. Like it's a testimony to your strength, man. And even now to where we're all at, of all the barber students that we're at right now that graduated from bean school, a lot of us are doing great in our own terms. Four of us, what, me, you, Kamari, Marley,
Mhm.
we're all at shops. Another one didn't want to pursue barbering, but he's doing great at his job and stuff like that. So it's like when you look back to where we're at right now, it's nothing short of a miracle, man. To get to the school that we were at, I'm not saying it was the worst of the worst, but it wasn't the best of the best, right?
Right.
A lot of it was self-taught, learning through your own experiences, through your own grinding and whatnot. To get to where you're at now, Kato, to like you said, you have your own car, you know what I'm saying? You have your own place, and you're
Mhm.
young, bro. Tell people how old you are, bro.
I just turned 23.
23, man. So
Yeah.
it's just a testament to show like he got his stuff together, bro. He's still getting his stuff together. He's still trying to rise up to the top. And it's an everyday battle, man. But when you thank the Lord, he's gonna provide you with more opportunities to grow and grow and grow. And
Yeah.
something that you said, Cato, that stuck with me is you don't ask him from things. You're thankful for the things that you got. Man, when you said that, Cato, I was like, yeah. A lot of people, a lot of times we ask him when we need stuff, but we
Yeah.
don't want to just be thankful for the stuff that we do have. So thank you for
Yeah.
hitting on that, Kato.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there anything else you want to say to them, man, before we close it out?
Um, I do wanna bring up how I'm sober and how I wanted to focus on cutting hair and sticking to my career. Because some days I'd wake up, I used to smoke weed, and as, like, a barber, if you're able to smoke weed and, continue to do your job, be all there in your head, like, I'm not I'm not, like, bashing on it. Do what you wanna do as long as, like, you're able to do it and still make money in that. But for me, it would, like, took a toll on me. Like my memory wasn't that good, so I knew I had to cut it out. And then I was vaping, I stopped vaping. I would drink. I'd wake up in the morning hungover, have to go to work. I stopped that. I just been sober for about a month now, feel better than ever, just focused on my career, continuing to try to grind and, get where I want to be in life.
And that's a testimony to everybody to understand this shit ain't easy, bro. It's not, man. Barbering
Mhm.
is one of those things where it could be a downfall or a big thing for you because you're standing in the same spot. You're cutting for most of the day, working a second shift job. So by the time you get out, what is there to really do, man? It's already nighttime. You get adjusted to doing these things, smoking, drinking, just to get your day by, man. And knowing Kato, the change that he's doing now, bro, I'll applaud you, Kato. Like I said, it's so now, man. That's such a hard thing to do. You know what I mean? Such a hard thing to do. But the fact you're doing it, staying committed to it, you're not only gonna show other people that they can do it, but the fact that you're being an example, man, for people to do as well, it's a big thing, man. So thank you for sharing that, bro. For real.
Yeah, for sure. It's like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep having you on this podcast here and there. You know what I'm saying? I definitely like this conversation. This is the whole point of us having this podcast is for people to get some interests that are similar to them and be able to just understand what we're going through and then
Mhm.
maybe what you're going through, right? And so if you have questions, don't feel free to ask. Feel free to just tell us topics you want us to touch on, like today. You know what I mean? Even if it's a sobering thing, there's no issue in bringing Cato back in and him
Yeah.
sharing his experiences with it, right?
Yeah, I'm down to
So,
come back
oh,
whenever.
100%. 100%. So that's gonna do it for it though, for this podcast, man. It's episode 4. We're going back to releasing weekly. I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving, man. I didn't want to release on Thanksgiving. I just felt like too much people had too much going on.
Right.
We're back with another episode. Yeah, episode 4 down in the books, man. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Tell us anything you want, questions, topics, stories you want to discuss, man. Cato, check him out, man. Where you cut at again? What's the address for people to know?
I'm not sure the exact address. It's at Fades and Blades. It's right on the corner of Ironwood and Ireland. We're open from 10 to 7 on the weekdays and then on Saturdays from 8 to 4. So yeah, come check us out.
And I'm gonna get his information after this, so it'll be on the screen for you guys to look at it. Send him a message if y'all need to book an appointment with them and whatnot. This is just for us, man. A place where you could talk freely about what you're going through, get an understanding of everything, man. And that's all, folks. Thank you for tuning in. It's your host Tony, and we out.
I used to feel so devastated.